Yo, what's up? This is Fling with DFS Army, and this is your Week 7 cash lineup review. We're going to look at the cash lineup that I rolled out in cash games, look at the chalkboard. What did we do on the cheat sheets? What was our thought process for the slate and how it went? So let's go ahead and do it. All right, let's start with the chalkboard this week. So, chalkboard, this is something we preach at DFS Army. For your cash games, you're not trying to really outsmart the field. For cash games, you're trying to beat 50% of the field. So, the chalkboard really is going to show you what the best plays are. And, we're going to be able to see spots that we want to eat the chalk. And, maybe some spots where we think it's bad chalk and, we might want to avoid some bad chalk. But, that said, we're really not trying to get different in our cash game lineups. So, right away, it was Sam Darnold, it was Baker Mayfield, Joe Flacco, Jordan Love, and Josh Allen. These were the guys projected for the most ownership. Sam Darnold was clearing away the top guy. And, right after him, it was Baker, Flacco, and Jordan Love. They were all projecting for pretty similar ownership here. So, this definitely helps guide us for, who we wanted for our cash games. I thought Baker Mayfield was in a great spot. Sam Darnold was as Jordan Love. And then Flacco, he came on late, ended up getting some good ownership. But as we've seen with Flacco, he's a little bit more high variance. So the chalkboard here where quarterbacks, I feel like it really told the tale of really the best plays on the slate. And then at running back, this was far and away what you needed to be successful as a DFS Army VIP in cash games this past week. Something that, DFS Army VIPs have all season long. Showing the best plays that, the guys who are getting the most ownership on the slate that, is going to be like a core play for you, a guy that you don't want to fade in your cash games, such as Tajay Spears and Bucky Irving, because they're getting over 30% ownership. They're in good spots. They're not, incredibly priced high. So, if these guys have a good game and you don't have them at 36% ownership or 34% ownership, it's going to be very difficult to hit the cash line. Barkley was in a good spot. He got a ton of yards, like 147, 167, I think, even rushing yards in this game. He just didn't get the touchdowns, but still did good enough for cash. I believe we got like 22 points. And then Jonathan Taylor, he smashed. So, these were the guys that I really had on my cheat sheet. We'll see when we get to that in a minute. But, these were the guys, obviously, that was spelled out for you on the chalkboard. And at wide receiver, it was Josh Downs is the top value guy. Even though he failed, he was going to be so highly owned and so cheap that he was just a guy that you wanted to put in your cash lineup. Yeah, maybe look to get off of him in tournaments. In contests, you're actually looking to get different, but in cash, was definitely the best value play. Jefferson Evans, Brian Thomas Jr., these guys were all in great spots and certainly delivered, especially Mike Evans and Brian Thomas Jr. And, there was a couple other spots that stood out. Addison, Calvin Ridley, Pittman was pretty good with Flacco at the helm. But I really think, these top four guys were really who we were going to be picking from for your cash lineup based on the chalkboard. And then, one thing I do differently than the field in cash is I'm not going to play the chalk tight end who's 6K. I'm looking for pay down options. So for me, that was Ferguson, and that was Chicken Conquo, that was Payne Durham. And I even liked Tyler Conklin at low ownership as kind of a super punt. So, that said, let's kind of get into my cash lineup. The lineup I rolled out in the majority of my cash games. This was a Jordan Love. And, I missed the mark with Jordan Love versus Baker in this spot. I liked a little bit of, a pay down. I thought it would be a much tougher spot for Green Bay running game. So, the Minnesota secondary is like a pass funnel. So I really thought Jordan Love would do a much better in this spot than he did. But I still hit the cash line. But that said, if you played Baker Mayfield instead of Jordan Love and you still focus on, this core group of players, minus Ferguson, obviously you go down to one of the 2,900 guys you absolutely smashed in cash this last week. So 149 points, was able to get to the cash line with Jonathan Taylor, Mike Evans leading the way, and then Bucky Irving. So as we saw on the chalkboard, JT, Spears, Bucky Irving, these are three of the four top guys. Like I said, Evans and Downs, those were the top two guys on the chalkboard. And, the guys that I really wanted with JC Horn out, I loved Evans in this spot to have a smash game, and he did. And then Calvin Ridley was in a good spot against Jacksonville, too. He was just that other 5K guy that I really needed in my lineup. And so, yeah, it was Evans, Ridley, Downs, Ferguson, Irving, and then we did the Giants D. So looking for the pay down, going against the Colts. Flacco had been pretty poor this year as well. He did get benched for Anthony Richardson. So I thought that was a pretty decent spot because they have a good pass rush and a pretty decent secondary for the Giants. So I like that pay down option. Ferguson, I loved Ferguson here getting the start without CeeDee Lamb. I thought he would really be more of a focal point of the offense, but nonetheless, given the ownership and still the guy under 4K, I still thought this was a pretty good spot. So overall, good lineup. Like I said, Green Bay, they kind of faltered a little bit at the quarterback position, but I still think this was a pretty good spot for Jordan Love. And, that was really the only, I think, big mistake I made with this lineup is I should have gone with Baker Mayfield in that spot at the higher ownership and the slightly in the better projection. Should have gone with him and then done the Payne Durham or Tyler Conklin pay down and would have had a really good day in cash. But, overall, still good, able to hit that cash line. We'll look at the cheat sheet. Like I said, I had Baker Mayfield. I had him even stars with Jordan Love on the cheat sheet. So didn't go wrong there. Josh Allen was the other guy. He's always got that floor, 22 points. So, he got there. Jordan Love let us down, but, overall did really well with the running backs. Barkley, Jonathan Taylor, Bucky Irving, and then Tajay Spears as the core 5K guy. So did not think that was bad. And then Justin Jefferson was decent, but I liked Evans. As you could see, higher stars here. It was just a better spot, higher team total on the slate. And, with Minnesota, there's so many guys to throw the ball to, even though Jordan Jefferson is one of the best wide receivers in the league. I just thought Mike Evans was going to be a little safer this week in that spot without JC Horn. Loved Brian Thomas Jr. He's been incredible and, another great week. Thielen smashed as well. So he didn't make it into that lineup, but Thielen smashed. Ridley did enough. Downs, like I said, he was the guy that bombs. And actually, I had McMillan in the lineup who smashed as well. So really killed it with the wide receiver and the running back group this week. Downs, like I said, he didn't prevent you from getting to the cash line because he was so highly owned. So it was fine. And then, I think Conklin and Payne Durham were the guys that you wanted. Ferguson definitely did not do well. If you pay down to Conklin and Durham, he did really well. Actually, Conklin was the highest scoring tight end on the slate at 2,900. And then the Raiders and the Jets. The Jets did not do well at 2,100 for sure, but they were a complete punt. So the other option was the Raiders, and I think they did pretty well. So not a bad cash week. I might have to throw my name in the cash gauntlet between all those touts, the DFS touts, the Overzets and the Maddox of the world, and send these boys my head-to-heads for week 18. So we'll see how it goes. But thank you for joining me on another week in review. Got one more of these. If you like this kind of content, hit that like button. Let me know. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as we have so much more content coming your way this week. Saturday slates, it just continues to go on and on with all the slates. So again, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit that notification button so you never miss a vid. We'll see you next time.